Welcome to The Explainer. You ever get the feeling that the people at the very top of a company don't really know what's going on down on the ground floor? Well, it turns out you're probably right. Today, we're diving into a concept that's been around since 1989, but it's more relevant than ever. It explains exactly why leaders are often in the dark and what that really costs their business.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by revealing just how big this problem is. Then, we'll introduce you to the iceberg of ignorance. After that, we'll talk about how you can actually melt that iceberg with modern tools, look at the amazing benefits, and finally, see how this whole approach can get a business truly ready for whatever comes next.
All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start with a problem that a ton of organizations have, but they don't even realize it. And it all comes down to a single, really eye-opening question.
Now, before I show you the number, just take a second. Think about where you work. What's your gut feeling? Maybe 30%? 20? I'm telling you, the real number is probably way, way lower than you're imagining.
Yup, 4%. A really important study found that top management is only aware of a measly 4% of the actual frontline problems happening in their own company. Just 4. That disconnect is absolutely massive, and it has a perfect name.
This incredible communication failure is called the iceberg of ignorance. And honestly, it's the perfect metaphor for the challenge that leaders are up against.
This term came from a 1989 study by a consultant named Sidney Yoshida, and he pointed out that, just like a real iceberg, the vast majority of a company's problems, the really dangerous parts, are all hiding below the surface, totally invisible to the people at the top.
And this table, this is where it gets really crazy. Look at how the information just vanishes. The frontline workers, they know everything, 100% of the problems. Makes sense, right? They're living it. But by the time that info's supposed to make its way to the top, a jaw-dropping 96% of that knowledge has just evaporated, gone.
So you see, this isn't just some fun fact about bad communication. This is a huge deal. When your leaders are making big, strategic decisions with only 4% of the picture, they're basically flying blind. I mean, how on earth can you fix problems that you don't even know exist?
So what do we do? Let's talk about how modern tools can start to tackle this problem that's been around for decades. The mission is pretty clear. We need to melt the iceberg and make all that invisible stuff visible.
The solution isn't trying to force people to write better reports or have more meetings. It's about bypassing that broken chain of command entirely. The idea is to use technology to build a direct, crystal clear line of sight from the people doing the work straight to the people making the calls.
And you do this with something called digital operations software. Here's how to think about it. When you map out your processes and automate the routine stuff, you're not just getting faster, you're automatically collecting data at every single step. This creates a constant, unfiltered stream of information that shows you what's really happening inside the business right now. So, what are the actual real-world benefits when you take this digital approach? Well, let me tell you, it goes way beyond just finding problems a little faster.
First off, you get genuine visibility. Instead of waiting for a weekly report that's already out of date, leaders can literally watch performance indicators live. This means they can spot a problem in the supply chain the second it happens, not 2 weeks later. It means decisions are finally based on facts and real, up-to-the-minute data, not just gut feelings. Second, it completely changes how people work together. When you automate all the boring, repetitive tasks, you free up your team to focus on what humans are good at, solving complex problems. And since everyone's on the same digital page, those old silos between departments start to break down, and you get real, meaningful collaboration.
But look, this is more than just a fix for today's headaches. Adopting this way of thinking is really about getting your entire organization ready for whatever the future throws at it.
It's pretty straightforward, really. When you use data to make your operations smoother, you naturally cut costs and make fewer mistakes. That efficiency almost always leads to happier customers. But the real grand prize here is building a business that's not just competitive today, but is genuinely resilient, one that can pivot, adapt, and thrive no matter what happens in the market.
This is the big takeaway. That old top-down model where critical information just gets lost in translation, it's just not going to cut it anymore. The businesses that go all in on digital transformation, the ones that get that clear, real-time view of what's happening, those are the ones that are going to grow and last. So, we'll end with a question for you to take with you. The iceberg of ignorance isn't just some old business theory, it's a serious warning. And it makes you wonder, what crucial truths are hiding just below the surface in my organization right now?
And more importantly, what's the cost of not knowing?